Welcome back to Slothbox. I'm Lyndon Dixon, and today I'm joined by a top heavyweight prospect in Howe. How you getting on, mate?
I'm very well, pal. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I want to go right back to your debut. The thing is, you was a top amateur, won loads of titles all around the world, but the debut is one that all the boxers never forget it. And it was on a massive card on that Savannah Marshall Franchon Cruz Design card. So, talk to me a little bit about that night, mate, and how did it go?
It was a bit of a mad one, really. It didn't go as planned in terms of I was on first,
Mm,
which for me is which is extremely rare in my whole boxing career. I've never ever boxed first.
mm,
I've always been a late night show, always been or main event of a boxed on the club show. So it was and then a box, and then eventually when I did box, I boxed the latest. I boxed, I think it was 11:30 on the night. So it was just what I'd expected, really.
mm,
But it was a great atmosphere. It was a great thing to be around and just be involved, and it was just so good just to experience it. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
something that, like you said there, you're never ever going to get it back again. You're always going to have to um, do like some of them experiences, like you experience for the first time, you're never ever going to get that chance again. That's your
Mm,
first time experience it, and just to watch everyone and how people compose themselves under questions and stuff like that. Obviously, with the press conference and
mm,
how they answer and how they hold themselves, so it was just good to see that sort of side of it. And obviously, you're not going to get no bigger stage in England than
mm.
Sky, and a massive card like that for the undisputed championship.
Mm. But how did it feel? The thing is, it weren't just your debut. It was on like you say, on Sky, a massive platform. How did it feel when you got back to the changing room? Because you fought so many times for these big international titles, but this was your first professional fight. So how did it feel when you got the win? You get back to the changing room. What was the emotions like?
Oh, they were through the roof, my emotions, actually. They were like, because I was like, it was obviously, it was just one of them experiences. Like you said, it was, so I've done everything in the amateurs. I've done a hell of a lot in the amateurs. So
Mm,
when I had to actually come on pro debut, and I'd boxed, and to be honest, like I said, it was a good fight. And I'd done everything at the time Peter had asked me to do. So it was like, it was all emotions were high, really.
mm,
Just because I thought I'd done what I'd had to do. Obviously the stoppage wasn't there, but I had him a few times. I went out the first round. I thought I'd try and bang him out.
mm.
It didn't happen. Didn't happen. I missed, and when I watched it back, I actually missed him with all my big shots that I threw. I missed, so it wasn't actually it was. So when I say try and bang him out, I missed him with quite a lot of my
Yeah,
bangers.
yeah.
So it was. But listen, it was a great opponent to start with. Jake Darnell. He'd had a hell of a lot of fights, and to win him unanimous, clearly as well, not really getting involved and moving and showing that sort of boxing side
Mm.
to myself, I think was the best way I could have put it.
Exactly, mate. But then the next show came on. The next fight, sorry, came on a smaller show in the northeast on a
Yeah.
Tommy Hodgson show, I think. But how did it feel to go from obviously that massive stage and it's brilliant, but then to be fighting closer to home? How did that feel?
That was a lot probably. It felt a lot more in terms of, it was a lot more crowded in, packed in,
Yeah.
sold a lot of tickets. It was probably the loudest support when I boxed. There was a lot of it was very loud as I come out, because obviously it was the little hauler that sold a lot of tickets. It was a big support there for myself, so it was loud walking out with. Um, I would say it was a different feeling. Obviously, I had another tough, durable opponent. Um, so it was a completely different experience, actually, because it was weighing on the day, stuff like that. Obviously it doesn't really matter for myself, but it was just good to experience that sort of side of it. And it was listen, you've got to go through all these shows and to get where you want to be. So it was a good experience, and I enjoyed it, actually. It was probably a great night, that.
Mm. Well, you mentioned earlier about in the first fight doing everything that Peter said. Well, I just wanted to know a little bit more about that relationship. Thing is, Peter Fury, anyone who knows boxing knows he's one of the best in the country on the planet. What's that relationship like between the two of you?
Well, I'm back at home now at the moment. I'm back at
Mm,
home. I'm training from home. Um, at the moment, but as you said, I had a lot of time with Peter. I think I had about 18 months with Peter.
yeah,
Um, so it was like it was brilliant. Actually, it was a fantastic part of my life now, experience, and just to learn and it's changed. To be honest, it's changed my boxing style. It's completely changed our boxing, our way approach, and our way
mm,
I look at things. So that in itself, in that 18 months period of time, I've been boxing since I was 9, so I've had 12 years, and in that short period, he's managed to transform my style to stuff where I look and I think, right, that's not right, or this isn't right, and I look at
mm.
things and developing on this, and he give me a list of stuff that I need to work on, and I've took it and I'm still working on them now. I'm not even probably past the first two really, so I like I really do respect everything Peter says. Really, he's a top coach. He's probably one of the best in the world.
Mm.
Easy.
So, what's the plan going forward now? Will you be back with Peter at any point, or are you going and looking at different options?
No, I'm just back at home now. I'm with two great coaches. I've got Adrian's Worth, out of Billingham, and Jim Tyers, Jim Senior. Two great coaches. Jim obviously had a lot of pros himself. His son's a professional boxer, 3-0, and there's Tom Somerville, 5-0 there. So I've got a great stable of lads around me. They're a great amateur club. So I'm training out with there, Billingham Boxing Academy.
Mm.
They're that was a hard one to say actually.
Yeah, tongue
I've
twister.
never really said it out loud like that before. But they're a great club. I'm training out there, and I'm really enjoying it at the moment. I'm enjoying my boxing. Sparred last night, sparred really well. Got a message this morning off Adrian saying, "Look, you look really confident. It's the best I've seen you since you've been with us." He said, you're looking sharp. Um, you're looking ready for this fight." So he said just keep the training up at the moment. He said, and then we'll start dipping it next Wednesday. Get ready for the fight for the third.
Mm. Well, you spoke about that next fight. It's in Middlesbrough, in your hometown. You've gradually, so you've gone from this massive arena to closer to home to finally your third fight, your first professional fight in Middlesbrough at home. How excited are you for this one?
Listen, it doesn't get better than being at home, does
Mm.
it? You're never gonna get. Listen, this might be my only chance I ever get a box in Middlesbrough, so you've got to take it with both hands. You've got to take it, and you've got to just enjoy it in the crowd, and you've got to show them that. Well, I've got to show them that I'm the Borough Balboa for a
Exactly
reason,
right.
and that I am a massive Middlesbrough fan. So listen, I want to carry the town, and I want to make them proud.
Mm. Is that the dream to fight at the Middlesbrough game?
The Riverside, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. A lot of people say it's. I'm just at the start and it's very early days, so I'm never gonna. I'm not. It's never gonna happen next week. It's never gonna happen this year. This year, probably the next. I've got to build myself and I've got to build this reputation. I've got to build the following and everything. But to bring the sport I love to the team that I love, and the Riverside would be like um, a massive thing. And I think for me personally, that it doesn't get better than that in my career. And
Mm.
I think just to have that vision of doing that, and that possibility so close that, I mean, it's not going to happen tomorrow, but it's so close, and I'm on the steps to doing that. It doesn't get better than that. And look at Tony Bellew, all the massive fights we're here, and that is probably his biggest one is winning the world title at Goodison.
Mm.
Like he said in the jungle, he did say, I'd seen a clip, and he said probably my biggest moment, winning a world title in front of your hometown is like something you're never ever going to be able to take away from a man.
Well, talk to me a little bit about what the plan is for the rest of the year because you was pretty active after your debut. So you got this fight coming up. What's the plan for the rest of the year? What do you want to hope to do by the end of it?
Yeah, I just want to fight. It's always, even as an amateur, I just want to fight. I'm always learning. I'm always trying to improve. So, and the only way to do that is by fighting. I'm going to have lots of ups and downs. For me, with boxing, you can't really, professionally, the professional side of it, you can't really plan too far ahead. Um, because you never know what's going to happen bar injuries, bar people pulling out, by anything, you kind of really put a finger on what you're going to do. But I'm just going to probably aim for this fight. It's obviously next week. I'm fit. I'm ready. Get this fight, get this done, and then look at my options after that. Because, yeah, like I said, I don't want to plan too far ahead. But I would love to finish the year with possibly 5, 6 fights, and just and then going into the new year, 2025, which is a year away. Um, I've got this massive vision of going on and then start pushing. I'm not one for want to sit about and just build my record constantly and build my
Yeah,
record. I believe a lot of the olden times the best have to fight the best, and you've got to eventually there's a lot of prospects in the country, and I think you've got to start fighting each other. Win, lose, or draw doesn't really matter. You've got to fight each other, and you've got to make fights happen. Pointless just knocking about saying, "Oh, I'm fighting this, fighting that," and then I'm fighting him, I'm fighting. But people aren't bothered. People want to see proper fights. People aren't bothered about someone who's 10-0 fighting someone who's 3-30. People want to
yeah.
see proper fights. So obviously, I know everyone's got to build up some sort of record, but hopefully, I'm just going to build and build this year. Myself,
Mm.
just try and get the best record, and then start looking at good options.
Mm.
Like I said, I'm only young, so I've got time.
Exactly, mate. Well, I just want to talk a little bit about when you was with Peter. You did a lot of rounds, obviously, with Fury, and as a young lad, even younger, even back then. I just want to talk to you a bit about how valuable those rounds were and how good is Fury.
Who, top 10 in the world, easy. If not possibly, probably world champion. He could be world champion.
Mm.
That's how good Yui is. I know a lot of people would probably say, "Oh, this or listen." When you got to think when he fought Joseph Parker, he was 22-year-old. He was only I'm 22 and in March. So
Mm.
it's a massive thing, really, when you think of when he fought for a world title at that age.
Yeah,
It seems mental now, especially in this heavyweight game. 22-year-old fighting for a world title. But arguably one of the best once he comes back, I think he's back, and I think he'll really be up the ladder pretty quick. I don't think he'll struggle. I don't think um, he'll take any laps or out like that. So, and I learned a lot from Yui. I learned a hell of a lot from Yui, taking the rounds and how to pace and everything he does. And I just even a lot of things like when he's sparring, yeah, and he hit me with a shot a few times. This little sneaky uppercut thing on the ropes where it goes square, but it was good, and I sort of took that and I made it into my own
mm.
sort of style. So it's good. It's spam world class operators like that. It's like you've got to be in there learning. You're not going in there to
Exactly.
dictate or give them. You can give them hard rounds, but you're not going in there to dictate or win the spar. Like Peter always said, you're never going to win. You never win a spar, but you're never going in there thinking, "Oh, I'm going to do this, do that." You've got to go in there, do your best, show them what you. But you've got to think, right, what if they do here? I'm learning off them, and they're going to do stuff. So, but you definitely once he's back, he'll be back, and I'm sure he'll be up there mixing it with the rest of them.
Mm. You mentioned earlier about the prospects eventually they've got to fight each other. And I've seen that you've done a few rounds with Queensbury's top prospect at the minute, Moses Atalma. After last year, there's so much hype around him, and deservedly so. He's put on some good performances. But
Yeah.
firstly, how were those rounds? And is that a fight that maybe the end of next year, even that you'd be hungry for?
Listen, I'm hungry for any fight with anyone. It's not it's any fight really, but listen, I think it could be a massive fight. I genuinely do, and he's done fantastically well. I mean, he's 18, 19-year-old lad doing what he's done. Like especially in the day. I know Mike Tyson did it, but it's unheard of. So
Yeah.
for him, I think he's absolutely. I think he's really has done exceptionally well, and all praise to the lad. He's took his chances, and he's took them, and he's proved his points. So he's for me. It would be a brilliant fight. I think it would be a great fight. I think it's two different styles meeting. I don't think we're nowhere near the same. I'm a all-out fighter. He's an excellent boxer, really. I would
Yeah.
say he's a punch perfection. But I think my style. it's breaking you down and getting to my style, breaking you down, getting to you. So I think, yeah, I think it would be a fight that could possibly happen in the future, depending which roads we go down. I
Yeah.
can't. I like I say, I'll fight anyone. I would never ever turn away a fight, no matter what. But it depends what roads we're going down, what roads we're at. Like I said, he wants to be world champion, and by the end of this year. So if he's world champion, it's one of them fights that'd be further and further on down the line. And like I said, I'm just taking my time. I want a long career. I don't want a short career. I want to be about for the next 10 years if possible, if I'm lucky, and be able to put on a show for the fans.
Well, moving away from yourself a little bit, I want to talk about some massive heavyweight fights that we've got coming up. And the first one, I feel lucky to be even able to say that we're going to see it between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. I can't pick a winner. I hate it. I hate sitting on the fence, but this one for me, it's like Crawford and Spence. I don't know how it's going to go. How do you see it going?
Eh,
Yeah,
everyone, people, you'll have a Tyson fan who will say Tyson will win. You've got an Usyk fan and say Usyk will win. Listen, they're both excellent operators and they're both boxing minds, the best of this generation. Especially as heavy. Oleksandr Usyk is a boxing is like a genius. Do you know what I mean? His style, he's like the Albert Einstein. But you've got another scientist boxing himself in Tyson. But it depends how Tyson takes a fight. A lot of people talk about Francis Ngannou fighting. People are like, well, he got beat, he got done this, he done that, he done this. But listen, I don't think it overly matters. I think Tyson just shows up when he wants to show up, and
yeah,
I think he's done. For me, the fight would go either way. I wouldn't put a finger on it. If someone said to me, you've got to put money on it, who do you think? I'd say, if I had a 10, I'd say put five on him, five on him. I wouldn't, I wouldn't be able to pick it. It's that, and that's why it's such a great fight. People are so divided on opinion of it that it's hard to pick who wins. And if it was easy, it wouldn't be as big as it is, would it?
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so that's why it's such a great fight. But for me, it's not really about. I think you've just got to enjoy it because on the night, once it's over, it's over. So that's all I'm thinking about. I'm just thinking of sitting down and watching it when it's on, and it'll be a cracking night. That'll be a great fight, and obviously the undercard's a good undercard. So you've just got to go and watch it, and I think just be grateful that they've fought because it's been 24 years, 24 years, and if you wait another 24, I'll be an old man by then.
Yeah. Well, the next one I want to ask you about, mate, is I'm sure you know what's coming between the fight between Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou. The thing is, how do you think the fight's going to go after seeing Ngannou's performance against Fury? Because people can say Fury had an off night or whatever, but Ngannou, for me, came out of that fight with a lot of credit. So, how do you see the Joshua and Ngannou fight going? It's crazy.
I think if he gets beat off Joshua, even though if he puts up another great performance, it's just like anyone getting beat. Yeah. He's just come into boxing. He's fought two. He's fought two. Well, not world champions. He's fought a world champion and a number two, who could arguably world champion, and he got beat off them both. It's if he goes in and wins, it's a shock and it's a massive surprise. But I think Joshua will beat him. I don't think Tyson really was bothered about it. I think genuinely when I watched it, I could see. I think he thought it was going to be a lot easier than what he thought. I don't care what anyone says. I think he thought it was going to be a lot easier than what he thought it was, and I think that's why he struggled. But I think Joshua will go in from that last fight. You've got to go in and you've got to think, well, if Joshua puts his shots together and looks like the old him, he's gonna dismantle him. He's gonna dismantle him. But Ngannou just looks solid in that base. Looked for the little fella. He looked miles bigger than him. He looked miles bigger. So he's got that physique as well. He's got an excellent physique. So and he's got that. And he's got such a big back, obviously, with wrestling and that. He's
He's a unit, isn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah, yeah. So he's, but for me, I think it'll be I think it'll be another good fight. I don't think he'll go in there and be bulldoze him in a round or two. I think if anything, I think Josh will stop him about round 8.
Mm.
I think he'll get tired. I think his hands will get tired, and if Joshua is lively as he was the last one, I think he'll stop him about then.
Mm. Well, last question, mate. It's been a pleasure speaking to you so far, but we spoke a bit about what you want out of the year, but talk to me. Imagine it's Christmas time, you're with your family, you're with your daughter. What have you done by the end of this year? Tell me what you really want to do.
Boxed as much as possible. Take all the opportunities I can get. If anything comes, I'll be ready, and just be there and be in a great position going into the new year. No matter what the opportunity is, if it was for a Northern title, if it was for an English title, I'll just take. They're my opportunities, and I've took them, and I'm happy. I always train to the best possible version of myself. I don't cut no corners. A lot of people have vouched for me there. And I'm a hard trainer. So at the end of the year, got me health and in a great opportunity going into the new year. That's all I can say. I can't say I'm going to have another 2 fights and I'm in shot for a world title.
Yeah.
But going into man, going in at the end of this year, going into the new year, I want to be in the best opportunity position I can be in. I don't want to be thinking, oh, I should have took that in June, or I should have took this. Oh, I wish I'd took that month off there. And I just want to be the best possible place I can be as a young boxer. And that's all I can say. So if it's 3 fights, if it's 10 fights, if I'm 13-0, if I'm 12-1, if I'm 20-0, just want to be at that best position I can put myself in.
Mm. Well, mate, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you. I've been Lyndon Dixon. He's been Will Howe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Cheers, pal. Thank you very much.